Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle one of those classic tricky spots in English grammar, the past continuous. We're going to finally clear up the difference between saying you did something and saying you were doing something.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. You've got I walked and I was walking. I mean, they look almost the same, right? But that little was and ing at the end, it changes everything. So what's the deal? Stick with me and you'll know exactly which one to use and why.
All right, let's picture this. Yesterday, Karen and Joe played tennis. They started at 10, they finished up at 11:30. So, if we could just freeze time right at 10:30, what were they doing? They were playing tennis. See that? They were smack in the middle of the game. And that right there is the heart of the past continuous.
So our first big idea is exactly that. It's all about being in the middle of an action.
To put it really simply, the past continuous is all about an action that was in progress at a specific moment in time. It had already kicked off, but it wasn't over yet. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like taking a snapshot right in the middle of whatever's happening.
And you know, building it is super easy. You just grab your subject, I, you, he, she, add was or were, and then tack ing onto your verb. That's pretty much the whole formula.
So, let me ask you, what were you doing at 10 o'clock last night? Maybe you were watching a movie, maybe you were scrolling on your phone. Whatever it was, at that specific time, 10 p.m., you were in the middle of doing it. See? You're already using this tense without even thinking about it.
Okay, now it's time for the main event. We're going to put these two tenses right next to each other to see what they really do. Welcome to the tense showdown.
So here's the difference in a nutshell. I was doing zooms in on the middle part of the action, but I did that zooms out and shows us the whole thing from the very beginning to the very end. It's kind of like the process versus the final result.
And this difference paints two totally different pictures. If you say, Kate was watching TV when we arrived, it means we walked in and the TV was already on. But if you say Kate watched TV a lot last year, you're talking about a finished habit in the past. Totally different vibes.
Okay, this is where it gets really fun. Let's see how these two tenses actually team up in the same sentence. This is section 3, when actions collide. I want you to think of the past continuous as the background artist. It's painting the scene, describing the longer, ongoing situation. It's basically setting the stage for what's about to happen.
And then bam, the past simple comes in. It's that shorter, faster action that happens right in the middle of everything, and it often just interrupts the flow.
Just look at these. The rain was the long background action. Getting up was the short interruption. Or, I was working in the garden. That was the ongoing thing. And then bam, I hurt my back. That was the sudden event. We were having dinner, and right in the middle of it, Matt phoned. It's a really cool storytelling tool.
Now you gotta pay close attention here, because the order of these tenses changes the entire story. We were having dinner when Karen arrived means we were already eating, forks in hand. But when Karen arrived, we had dinner. That means she showed up, and then we all sat down to eat. It's a huge difference in the timeline.
You know how it is. There are always a few exceptions to the rule. So, let's meet them in section 4, the rule breakers, or what we call stative verbs.
So the main thing here is that some verbs just, well, they don't like being in the continuous form. They're usually verbs that describe a state or a feeling, not a dynamic action. You can't really be in the middle of knowing something, right?
So yeah, verbs like know or want are perfect examples. You either know something or you don't. You want something or you don't. It's a state of being, not something you're actively doing over a period of time.
For example, you would always say, we knew each other well. Saying we were knowing each other, it just sounds weird, doesn't it? That's because knowing is a state. Once you get a feel for this, you'll start noticing it all over the place.
All right, it is time for the grand finale. Let's take everything we've talked about and put it all together.
This little story just sums it all up perfectly. I was cycling and I was going create that background scene, right? The long actions. And then you get the past simple verbs. Stepped, managed, didn't hit, and they tell you the quick,
completed actions that happened. It just makes the story come alive. So you see, these two tenses aren't fighting each other. They're actually partners, working together to tell a much better story about the past. One sets the stage, the other brings the action. It's a simple little difference, but it makes a world of difference. So, my question to you is, now, what's a story you can tell?